And as if that wasn't one oddity, we find us another one. This is the Independent. This is a 1.3 battle rating premium heavy tank for the British tech tree. It is premium, so it costs 2,100 gold. It's a multi-turreted tank. It's got like half a baseball team in there. Can you cram any more people in there? Oh my gosh! It looks like the kind of like the British equivalent of the Soviet SMK. It's only got one round option, but you don't need a whole lot of pen. It's 1.3 battle rating. This will be just fine. It's an interesting little tank. This is not a tank I'm all that familiar with, to be honest with you, in real life. Multi-turreted, but only one of the turrets has a cannon. The rest have single machine guns. So yeah, look at this. It looks more fearsome, doesn't it? It looks kind of scary, but you see as I turn, you see the other machine guns are going off. I don't know. It's an oddity. It's one of those rare collector's items, similar to the SMK, that actually not just by design, but by its usefulness. It doesn't attract a whole lot of people to buy it, and it also has a very steep price. I don't see myself buying this. The Independent, it looks like an interesting little thing, but I don't find it being interesting enough to spend 2,100 gold on it. That's the thing. You really have to be a fan of this thing, or be curious about to spend that kind of money, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Are you going to buy this thing at 2,100 gold, battle rating 1.3? Seems a little pricey to me, for what it is. Next up, we have the FV438. This is a Tier 4 battle rating 6.0 medium tank for the British. And if it looks familiar, it's because it's a combination of a Chieftain and a Centurion. This was sort of a prototype or some of the parts were prototypes for what would become the Chieftain. The thing that interests me the most is the turret, not only because of its angled, similar to the Chieftain, but it has a very good turret ring. So while the turret ring and the front of the turret will be very good because of the thickness and as well as the the angled armor, the cupola on top is going to be a huge weak spot. That's going to be easy one shot for Tiger II. And lower front plate, of course, if you don't hold down, that's going to be vulnerable. Overall, I'm pretty happy by what I see from this tank. As far as the battle rating, 6.0 seems reasonable, especially given the fact that it doesn't have APDS. That's huge, actually. Because if this did have APDS, then it would obviously be at least a 6.7. Especially given that turret armor and the turret ring strength. I was actually surprised that this wasn't a premium, given that this is a prototype for the Chieftain. Gaijin usually puts prototypes as premiums, but hopefully they realize that Britain has enough premiums right now. At least a tier 3 and 4. Yeah, I think this is a good addition to the regular tech tree. I think this is going to get a lot of attention. Remember, hit that cupola. That's good. Should be an easy kill. Next up, we have the Swingfire. This is a British ATGM with mouse aim ATGM rockets. It has 2 tubes that fires rockets. Fire them one at a time. As one reloads, the other one will be able to fire. It's an interesting little thing, but being it's a ATGM that doesn't require WASD keys to aim the rockets, again, just like with the other ones, I'm not that interested in it. That being said, of course, it was a necessary addition given the fact that every other nation that has tanks has an ATGM rocket that is mouse aim. Currently, the only ATGM that the British have is the STRV-81, and that's with WASD keys. So this will even the playing field a little bit with another 8.0 ATGM. Next up, we take to the air, where we find the Lockheed Hudson Mk V, a premium British bomber, battle rating 2.7. It goes on sale for 1,000 golden eagles. It's got an interesting payload. It's got both rockets and bombs. which makes it interesting for naval action. Actually, you know, with naval combat being out here pretty soon, this could be quite useful for that. In addition to, of course, using this in realistic battles for tanks, and use these rockets and bombs for that as well. Defensive armament, not a whole heck of a lot going on here. Just a couple of 7.7mm machine guns. You have a couple of forward-facing 7.7mm machine guns. Not a whole lot of armament. Mostly what this is going to be is a kind of a strike fighter, or excuse me, as a strike bomber, taking out ships of varying sizes. I was first introduced to this plane through a movie, believe it or not. It was an old Tyrone Power movie. I think it was called A Yank in the RAF. It was from like 1941 or 42. I saw it about a year and a half ago, and I just thought, this looked like a cute little bomber. And if memory serves, Tyrone Powers was actually flying one of these, or was a member of the crew of some sort. It's just a cute little bomber, completely unlike the other bombers in the game, which seem to be kind of elongated. You can see the defensive machine guns, not much coverage and pretty weak, typical of British bombers, sadly. I think the thing that this thing has going for it is its maneuverability, actually, more than anything. And if you can get someone on your tail, you might be able to outrun them, might be able to outturn them, or at least turn well enough to evade them for at least a little bit. Perhaps long enough for a teammate to get on your tail and help you out. Again, Batarang 2.7, 1,000 gold. I think I'll be buying this one. This looks like fun, especially for tanks and naval action. It's a cute little bomber. There's no denying that. Very agile. I like it. Next up, we have the Bristol Brigand B.1. This is the bomber version of the Bristol. Comes with a couple of bomb and rocket options. It's an interesting little bomber. It's considered a light bomber in the game, and it reminds me more of a heavy fighter than anything. It reminds me of a more maneuverable de Havilland Mosquito. That's the first point that it reminds me of. And not only does it have an assortment of bomb and rockets, but it also has 4 20mm Hispano Mark V cannons that are mounted on the fuselage on the underside. Just like with some of the other planes that are similar to this, I suspect this is going to be used in both RB ground forces as well as naval combat. This was, after all, used in real life as an anti-shipping vehicle, so I suspect this is going to be quite useful against other ships in the game once Gaijin introduces naval combat in I don't know, maybe a couple of months. Who knows? It's going to be an interesting time in War Thunder with naval combat coming in. And yes, this thing does actually have air brakes. That's a pretty cool little feature to have on here. They don't pop up too crazily like the BTD or something like that, but it's pretty nice. Got great guns. You know, the Hispano Mark V's are awesome. Get a lot of ammunition. I suspect that in Air RB this is going to be primarily used as a heavy fighter, you know, against bombers. You know, bomber hunter. It's going to be used as a head-on monster, I would assume. Because a lot of people are foolish enough to go head-on with a plane with 4 centrally mounted 20mm cannons. Hispano Mark V's at that. Use the air target ammunition and good night.